Hopefully this works. The microphone is currently kind of fucked right now, so we're doing the video like this. Hello, and welcome back to the show where nothing really matters, but I sit here and tell you that it really, really does matter. So what really matters and has major impact on our country and the world? Palestine? Inflation? The presidency? Nah, that shit's boring. We can't run a news cycle around it. So let's talk about the funny dancing app in China. We'll start off with a history lesson. In 2012, a company in China named ByteDance was founded by somebody named Zhang Yimin. You know, that's take two, and I still fucked it up. The company's first app at the media market is an app named Taotao, a personalized news app for the Chinese people. This app would be met with a moderate response, but isn't integral to the story that we know. Where it really starts to heat up is when this app in 2014 comes out named Musical.ly, and in about a year, this app shoots up to the #1 spot in the Apple Store, and becomes a global phenomenon for some really cringy shit to be posted. In this moment in time, it is separate from ByteDance, so the company rolls out its own video sharing platform named Douyin. As Americans, we know this application as TikTok. But what do we know about ByteDance? ByteDance is a massive company that pretty much is the Chinese Meta, being a titan of media in China, so they have a lot of money to play with if they ever want to buy up competition. So they bought up the competition. In November of 2017, ByteDance buys up Musical.ly and merges it with their TikTok, or their Douyin application in China. What makes TikTok so special is its algorithm that carefully curates a user's feed to ensure that they can keep watching for as long as possible. Now, that alone makes it evil, but that's not the scary part. The data used for advertising and to sell you shit you don't need. That's what's scary. Now, you might be asking, that's pretty normal, Zach. What is the difference? The difference? It is very effective. Political messages like Hong Kong protests spread like a wildfire across the sea to the States, sparking protests here in America and across the world. This is scary to the elite, but what is scary to everyday Americans is that something good getting out like the Hong Kong protests, this algorithm has been used for hate as well. The youth of America have been indoctrinated into far-right, racist/fascist ideology, and TikTok and other American social media apps are all to blame for this. Age 19 to 29 years of age equals about 20% of people in that age gap believe that the Holocaust didn't happen. Now here's the kicker. That is compared to the 0% to ages 65 plus. Now that's a slight problem. This statistic should concern you. One of the greatest tragedies known in history is a myth to about 20% of the population, and it's rising. This can be attributed to the use of propaganda on social media, i.e. TikTok. We notice this with the AI translations of Hitler's speeches. It's great for historians, but it's also great for propagandists who want to spread hate. But this is also the tip of the iceberg. While TikTok is a great tool for doing genuinely good things for communities, it also has the capabilities of destroying communities. It should concern you that the new generation of Americans can be so easily indoctrinated by simply saying Hitler wasn't that bad, guys. Omega based. I over-exaggerate, but that's what's going on here. The new generation is easily swayed by some influencers saying that the Nazi occupation actually helped Germany, and the Jews that were systematically and brutally torn from their homes and murdered were the problem. Sounds familiar to us considering Trump and what he's doing with immigrants. So let's talk about the origins of the band. So an app called TikTok hits the scene, and it's fucking based. Like, really for the people, man. And it kind of starts picking up some steam. And it really seems like TikTok is going to be the next big thing, bringing in new users every day and making headlines with brain-dead trend after brain-dead trend. Some people have their doubts about the platform being useful, but it's pretty much undeniable that the platform has the power to spread the word from continent to continent. This will be important later. So what happens when the people have a tool to communicate with each other and share ideas? Everyone together now. The US government regulates it. See, I knew you guys would get it. So apparently, this is a Chinese app, and the one thing that we know about Chinese apps is that they like to steal your data. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I only say Chinese apps? Let me dial it in here real quick and say that all apps steal your fucking data. Chinese or not. I can throw up all the articles on the screen and throw books at you about your private information being plucked off of you bit by bit. So why is TikTok being singled out? It's not the United States stealing your data. That's why it's getting singled out. So the US government bans TikTok from US government officials' phones. Cool. Glad we got that squared away. I don't know why they have apps on their phones. Maybe they just get really fucking bored on the job and they need to cut a jig. Or cut a rug. I don't know, man. I'm just reading it. So, we can leave it at that, right? Land of the free, keep the government out of my business. If I want to sell my data to Chinese nationalists, that should be my goddamn given right.
Right? Wrong!
So the government starts to have hearings about TikTok. At first, it was about the safety of children. With all the trends I was talking about earlier, and to be fair, those trends were pretty fucking wild. Even Trump and the conservative radicals were even on Team Fuck TikTok. This will also be important later. But that doesn't seem to spark the fire within red-blooded Americans. So Congress has to get freaky with it and pull the rabbit out of their hat, or the lobbyists will get saucy on their asses. I've really got to stop writing at 4 in the morning. So in comes the era of Chinese spying. It hasn't failed us before. A Red Scare is always a good way to stir up Americans. It's in our genetics. Red Scare, diabetes, and we can't forget the gun. So a new campaign is launched. You bring in the CEO, ask if he's a Chinese citizen a couple hundred times, and then send him on his way home with a validation that America is safe. Oh hey, another school shooting. So now that we feel validated, we must ban TikTok. We have the left supporting it, and we have Trump's support. We have Trump's support, right? Right, Donnie? Now coming out of right field. Get it? Get it? Get it, guys? I'm funny, right? Donald Trump now wants to keep TikTok. What I think happened? I think Donald Trump wants to further gain the younger vote by saying that he saved TikTok. And the TikTok CEO is most certainly more than willing to give him credit for it. The right-leaning congressmen now have eggs on their faces because the right went so fucking hard on TikTok just to have Trump pivot hard, saying that TikTok shouldn't be banned in the US and having its CEO glaze him. It is absolutely wild how the marching orders can just change on a dime, huh? So, TikTok is saved, right? Not exactly. There's a caveat. There always is with government shit. The main company, ByteDance, still needs to sell to American companies as outlined in Trump's original order. The question is who's gonna buy it? Microsoft? Oracle? Elon? Mr. Beast? The answer is unclear, but one thing is true. I don't know how I can say this with enough energy. Don't fucking sell it to Mr. Beast or Elon. Don't sell it to these two fuckheads. And I fucking beg of you, do not sell it to Kick. You're better off selling it to the crackhead down by Circle K who sells me some pretty good shit, but that's besides the point. But what I think is going to happen is TikTok CEO is going to keep glazing Trump, and TikTok will become more of a safe haven for right-wing talking points and remain in the US, but lose its credibility as a harbor of fair and balanced reporting and entertainment. You will still see all the war footage and shitty memes, don't you worry. None of that's gonna go anywhere. But that doesn't downplay the importance of TikTok as a platform. It's what conservatives have always wanted and whined about for almost a decade now. A digital town square. A place where you can say what you want and the government can't swoop in and take you away. And that's TikTok's strength. Remember when I said you could share content from continent to continent? This is more important now than ever. We can't expect the mainstream media to be responsible when giving us the news on overseas geological politics, wars. And that's what TikTok is for. It gives you a perspective that the news can't simply grasp. Actual raw footage of what is going on around the world. Everything with the mainstream media has to have a spin on it. When you are actually there, you can form your own opinions and your own understanding of the conflict. Not having CNN, Fox News, Breitbart, Daily Wire tell you how to feel about a conflict. Ukraine, Russia, Israel, Palestine, these stories can be seen and heard and not silenced on TikTok. Activism happens on TikTok and change can be made on TikTok. That's why it was threatened to be taken down It was either play ball or lose the whole game, and TikTok chose to play ball. Unfortunately, the way TikTok is going to conduct itself from now on is basically catering to conservative sensibilities, so Trump doesn't clamp down on the app. It's political blackmail. Unless they sell to an American company, which is the same thing but far worse, you can't expect an American media company to be fair and honest with the videos that they share. But that doesn't necessarily mean that activism can't happen on TikTok. Far from it. There's plenty of videos being made that are going against the conservative narrative. Hopefully things turn around for the app, because we need now more than ever a free and open app to express ideas. Can't do that on X, otherwise you'll be banned for wrongthink, and you can't do it on Meta either, and sadly nobody else is as powerful as Meta or X at the moment. We won't see another contender for a while. Blue Sky's there, but it's gonna take a little bit of time for that platform to mature. TikTok isn't about the cringe dances. Hell, it isn't even about the activism. It's about connecting the world when the world needs it the most. That's what the powerful hate about TikTok. It gives a voice to people like you and me, and it gives us power to wield, rather that's for good or for bad. Don't let the political elite take away your rights as an American and as a human being. Thank you.